What's going on, guys? In today's video, we're going to be discussing everything that we know about MCU Spider-Man 4 starring Tom Holland. So first of all, we know that it's going to be taking place within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or at least we are expecting Sony and Marvel to come to a new deal that sees Tom Holland see a new trilogy out. And speaking of a new trilogy, the new trilogy starting with MCU Spider-Man 4 is meant to carry over another 3 films for Tom Holland, meaning it will be the college trilogy of the MCU Spider-Man. People have also rumored that this will then carry on for another 3 movies after this, which has been quoted as being the adult trilogy. But moving back onto MCU Spider-Man 4, this will be the start of the college trilogy, where Peter Parker will go to college. As we know, by the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, Peter is actually trying to resubmit himself to the exam board to try and get into college. But what college he's actually going to, we don't know, but there are 2 options. The first option is MIT, which MJ and Ned seem to be going to by the end of No Way Home, or the second option is ESU, which MJ and Ned aren't going to. If the first option with MIT is true, this could mean that we could see the reintroduction of Zendaya's MJ and Jacob Batalon's Ned Leeds. But if the second option ends up being true and he ends up going to ESU, this means that we could end up getting introduced to a whole new different cast of characters than the first trilogy. But all we know at the moment is that the setting will be in college for the next MCU Spider-Man movie. So let's move on to the villains. I've actually already done a video about the villains for MCU Spider-Man 4, predicting a few options, so you can go watch that video. I'll leave a link in the top right hand corner of the screen on the eye icon if you want me to go into more details about the villains, but I'll just scrape over a few here. My first option, and probably the most obvious option, and the one that will most likely be coming true, is Scorpion, aka Mac Gargan. As we know, he was in the post-credit scene of Spider-Man Homecoming and was rumored to be the villain of Spider-Man Far From Home before Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio ended up taking that spot. And since he's still a villain that has a vendetta against Spider-Man, it's possible that he could be the villain for the next MCU Spider-Man movie. The next option is actually Venom. As we know, by the end of No Way Home, a piece of the symbiote from Tom Hardy's Venom was left in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, meaning that Venom could have some kind of involvement within MCU Spider-Man 4. But whether Venom would be Eddie Brock or Mac Gargan, we don't actually know. Instead of Mac Gargan becoming the Scorpion, Mac Gargan could actually become Venom, since we already have an Eddie Brock Venom in the Venomverse. This would also allow Marvel and Sony to have 2 different versions of Venom, meaning the audience doesn't get confused between the 2. However, speaking of the symbiote, as I said at the end of No Way Home, it creeped into the MCU, so it's fair to say that MCU Spider-Man 4 will some way deal with the symbiote. And going forward, looking at what we already know about the MCU Spider-Man series and the direction that it's headed, we could potentially see symbiote Spider-Man in Tom Holland take the reins in MCU Spider-Man 4. In fact, this point is even more backed up by the fact that we got symbiote Spider-Man concept art for Spider-Man No Way Home. In fact, there have been leaks saying that Venom was actually meant to be a part of the final battle of Spider-Man No Way Home, which could have seen either one of the Spider-Men get the symbiote at the end of the film. And since this concept art has been released, that Spider-Man looked to have been Tom Holland. But since they had that post-credit scene where a piece of the symbiote was left in the MCU, this obviously means that they didn't go ahead with it in No Way Home, meaning that this concept of Spider-Man getting the symbiote within the MCU has definitely been saved for the future, aka Spider-Man 4 in the MCU or somewhere in the college trilogy. And moving on from the symbiote, I have one last villain that I think could potentially show up within Spider-Man 4. And this is a villain I didn't actually mention in my villains video, so this is like a little extra something for you guys that are watching this video. And that is the sensation from Spider-Man PS4, Mr. Negative. Now, as we know, Mr. Negative has been popularized due to the hit game Marvel's Spider-Man. Now, obviously, because of No Way Home, we know that Feast exists within the MCU, and it is possible that Martin Lee could take over from Aunt May's role in Feast in Spider-Man 4, which could potentially give us Mr. Negative as the villain. And it also seems, due to No Way Home, that the MCU is taking heavy inspiration from the games, so what better way to pay homage to the first Marvel Spider-Man game than to have Mr. Negative face up against Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the college trilogy, or MCU Spider-Man 4. And those are just the villain possibilities, from the symbiote to Scorpion to Mr. Negative. But let's move on. What do we know about the love interest and the side characters in MCU Spider-Man 4? I made a video recently about a Sony executive who came out and said a few details about MCU Spider-Man 4, and they're currently working on the project and also working to get the whole cast back from the original trilogy. You can once again check out that video in my Spider-Man news playlist on the channel, but I'll briefly go over what he said here. So he mentions that they're working on MCU Spider-Man 4, and they also want to bring the whole cast and crew back that made the original 3 films, and that primarily included Tom Holland, Zendaya, and John Watts as the main notable people that were mentioned in the quote. Which means, by the looks of things, we are also going to be returning according to the status quo by having MJ show up as the love interest and John Watts directing. And this could also be safe to assume that we'll also get Jacob Batalon back as Ned if Sony ends up getting the whole cast and crew back from the original Spider-Man trilogy. However, since Peter is going to college, it is rumored that we are going to be introduced to brand new side characters as well. Most notably, two characters that are very popular in the fandom at the moment are Gwen Stacy and Harry Osborn. These are two characters that have been circulating the rounds for quite a while, saying that they potentially could show up in MCU Spider-Man 4 or the college trilogy in some capacity. And due to the end of No Way Home, because everyone forgot who Peter Parker was, people are saying this is the perfect opportunity to introduce characters like Gwen Stacy and Harry Osborn. But what about other heroes? There have been rumors about other heroes showing up in MCU Spider-Man 4 as well. And the most notable one has been Charlie Cox's Daredevil ever since he showed up in Spider-Man No Way Home. But another team of superheroes that have been rumored to show up in Spider-Man 4 in some capacity, probably just a little cameo, is the Fantastic Four. But with that being said, that is it for the main points of what we really know about MCU Spider-Man 4 thus far. Remember, a lot of these things are only rumors and fan speculation based off evidence that we have from Spider-Man No Way Home and other previous Spider-Man movies. So make sure to take all of this with a grain of salt, like I always do say. But that is pretty much everything that we do know about MCU Spider-Man 4 going forward. A few other tidbits is that there have been characters like Kingpin rumored to show up. Black Cat is another one that is popular with people and the fandom, and also that this movie is going to be very Spider-Man centric as well due to the end of No Way Home. But that is pretty much it for everything that we do really know about MCU Spider-Man 4. Obviously, the only thing we really do have that is concrete enough to say, yeah, that's confirmed, is the fact that this is confirmed to be a new trilogy, and that has been confirmed by the producers, and also that they are trying to get Zendaya, Tom Holland, and John Watts, and all of the original cast and crew to come back for this film. So it's very likely that we will be seeing MJ again partner up with Peter and Ned. But with that being said, that is everything that we do know about MCU Spider-Man 4 thus far, according to the evidence, the rumors, and some of the confirmed stuff as well. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Are you excited for MCU Spider-Man 4? And if you are, then tell me why. And also, let me know what you guys think about some of these rumors as well. Do you think some of these could be true? Do you think some of these could be fake? Who do you think will show up as the villain? Let me know in the comment section down below. But if you are new to the channel, enjoy all types of Spider-Man content, from the news, from the games and the movies and the shows, and also fan fictions where we continue lost stories and we do pre-writes and rewrites and all that kind of good stuff, then make sure to hit that subscribe button, and also make sure to hit the notification bell next to the subscribe button so you do not miss another video as soon as it gets released on the channel. And also, if you do want good, high quality superhero clothing, I give you I Am Superhero, who provide clothing designs based off superheroes like Spider-Man, Batman, and many more. You guys are really going to like that if you like that kind of stuff. So make sure to go in the description down below and click the link, and it will take you to their page where you can look at some of their stuff. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care and peace.